BIC podcast number 161. I had to make sure the number was right because it was last year when we last recorded, a whole year ago. But here we are. Once again, another Watchful Eyes of Brett Favre. On this episode, which should simply be called The Struggle is Real, is because first recording of the new year, but the struggle is real. Struggle for the Ravens is real. Eric's general struggle with life is real. His struggle with trying to sort things is real. Some of these things we're going to touch on. It's going to be mostly a random assortment of topics because there isn't really one specific topic that dominates them all. But we'll talk about the footballs and we'll get predictions. Now, remember, everybody, Eric is notorious for his predictions. So this could be your opportunity. You could make trillions of dollars just by fading Eric. Or maybe a broken clock is right twice a day. Maybe you follow all of his predictions. We're all going to find out together. That and more in this episode of the BIC podcast. Yes, we hear. By the way, that thread is real. I have the brackets, so we're gonna do a little challenge in the course of the NFL talks. We will have the brackets and we will cover it. So first of all, let's do some comments from last week. Thank you everybody for the engagement and for the comments. Appreciate it as always. First was Ty here. Daniel 4619 says, "Great show, Carlos. Pats, the team that has been trailer park trash," which is correct. I was speaking of the historical accuracy of the history of the Patriots. Really, the Tom Brady era is an anomaly. Us returning to equilibrium would be the team being a disgrace to everything involved in. Eric wearing the hat is honestly abhorrent. It is an abomination against the Lord. Generally, Eric is an abomination against the Lord. The hat just kind of puts an exclamation point on it. But regardless, I'll never stop laughing when Carlos says America. Well, somebody has to because Brandon is actually American, and I can say America with a little bit of oomph, and Eric hates the troops, freedom, and America. So, it's a thing. Somebody's got to do it. Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. The Hobby Story of the Year. The feud between Eric and Matt from Providence. Pretty much the feud between Eric and person from wherever. There were a lot of them.
Fill in the blank.
Yes. Matt from Providence was one of many feuds.
I feud a lot.
You do?
It's my jam.
Rob here says, while the Eagle may not have landed due to Canada Post, we may have an update on that. An update shortly. I can at least make sure Eric aware what I want to do with this charity. I'll message tomorrow with the details. Don't worry. He has messaged me with the details. And the Eagle has in fact landed. The jersey is not. Do you want to show the jersey, Eric? You can confirm custody of said jersey. Indeed. And Eric has agreed to personally cycle to wherever Ray Bork is on this planet to get it signed. I believe that's what he said. Something to that effect.
And I'm not going to Florida.
You can hang out with Florida Man.
My wife's probably already there right now.
See, if you had sent the jersey with your wife, it would already be with Ray Bork as we speak.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it that way.
Yep. Just 1455. Give the video a like. Enjoy the listen, fellas. Thank you. Jeff McMahon. Happy New Year, guys. Marcel will be stateside this weekend doing a signing here on Saturday. I'll ask him if he's heard of Eric. Thank you, Jeff. Bobbles said, "Smooth move, Eric." This is referring to the timestamp where Eric switched his hat to the Beckett hat.
That's right.
Thank you, Bobbles.
That's because I am very entertaining.
That is a word. Describe it. Ray's LBJS Cards says, "I feel the same way. I can't stand what not letting people on their platform. They basically do not do anything about it. Promote gambling to younger kids, even on YouTube. I've tried blocking it every time I see the ads. I go do the thing. I fill out the survey, what I don't like, and still get the ads every time. Seems like there could be a lawsuit on that because you don't want your kids to see it. Well, I appreciate that you're at least taking some action. So thank you for your comment. Appreciate it." The Burrell says, "Please, no using the Burrell for donation justifications, please. Geoff will be in my next video." Too late, Bobby. Eric still owes the charity $900. His $100 is only 10% of the committed amount. We have this on tape.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll go to the tapes, Brandon. We're going to the tapes.
It was recorded.
It was recorded. Dean Jackson. Is there going to be a Friday show on January 2nd, 2026? There was no show last Friday. I look forward to seeing the Friday night show every week and Wednesday pop-up shows. Dean, hopefully you were watching. The show did in fact happen. Let's see here. Let me see if I can read this one. I will say, Brandon, I did kind of prefer when we used to be able to see the handles, the ats for everybody in the comment section is kind of awkward because sometimes it's hard to read it as opposed to just the fully written out version of it. Let me see here. Is there a full written out version of this? Looks like Akbar. So I'll just say Akbar here. Pink Floyd rules. Worst take of the year goes to Eric. Facts.
Pink Floyd sucks.
That's only one of the worst takes of the year.
Pink
Yes.
Floyd sucks.
We do a top 10 worst takes of Eric, but all his takes are the worst take.
I
All of
hate
It's like tied for one.
Mhm.
just a couple of days ago, turned the car on, Pink Floyd came on. I was thought about you guys and this whole debate, and I just went click, turn the channel.
So,
Bye.
did you crash the car?
No, I was starting it. I was in the driveway. I've never crashed the car in the driveway.
Don't say that. You've crashed the bike in the garage. Don't say you've never crashed the car in the. You're setting
I have
yourself
not
up.
crashed the car in the driveway yet. Yes, I crashed the bike in the garage one time because something let go and I jerked forward.
Future episode, we're going to hear a story that we will try not to laugh at.
So right now, Brandon, this was the setup to the first part of the clip, and then I do a few moments later from the SpongeBob, and then Eric says, "So I drove my car into the water." You mean the water is beside your house? I don't know what happened.
There is water next to the ocean's right there.
And imagine is there enough ocean to fit a car?
Yes.
Then it's a fait accompli. It is merely a matter of time. It is not if, it is when. Moving on. Bubbles was said, when Bubbles went into a long backstory on the Shards card, I laughed and a little poop came out. These are our commenters. Good job, everyone.
Oh,
Thank you, Bob.
I shouldn't laugh at that. That's very immature.
And that is why my card should have won.
Listen, the people were willing to acknowledge their immaturity, Brandon, but they're not patronizing you. Moving on.
God.
And I've had to go for a second coffee today because, see, Brandon, before we started recording, Brandon was talking about getting up early. I merely didn't sleep. So rather than get up early, I just basically didn't fall asleep at all. It was terrible. Like I said, the struggle is real. See, the title fits on multiple levels. We're going to get to this some more, but I need a second coffee for that one, regardless. All right, so thank you all for the comments. Appreciate it. All right, so let's get into the silly card of the week. First, we'll talk about last week's results, and then we'll get into the rest of it here. So let me zoom in on this a little bit so we can see it better. See if I can find a better way to do this going forward, but for now, we'll go work with this. So let's go with the results here. Thank you, everybody, for the votes. There will be a community post for this week's as well, so that you can vote for this one. So I don't want to zoom in too far, otherwise it gets a little pixely, but here is the result. So we had 73% for Eric's regular sized autograph. I think a lot of you have the visual dysmorphia that Eric's known for. And to Brandon's point, 19% of it were willing to pander to it. The lack of focus was noted and disturbing. But nonetheless, we count every vote. So results are the results. It is what it is.
I think it's going to be the biggest blowout in history in our little competition.
I feel like there was one. I feel like there was one that went into the 80s. There was one. There was one that definitely went into the 80s.
Okay, all right.
All right. So Brandon, I want a backstory. Go ahead. Try to sell it.
I'm not doing a backstory this week. You're just getting the name. Motorboat Jones. That's it. Motorboat Jones. He's a Reds top prospect. That's all you need to know. There.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get that name?
You didn't like my backstory. You didn't like my silly card on the picture. So we're just going Motorboat Jones. Reds top prospect. Future star.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
So here is, well, I believe, because it's really hard to tell, and I'm not a baseball expert, but I do believe that is Reggie Jackson.
I believe it is Reggie Jackson.
When he played for the Angels. And as he is playing the baseballs on the infield, it seems like Speedy Gonzalez, a fictional character of the Warner Brothers type, is stealing a base. And instead of trying to tag him, he's just going, "Ole!" and letting him proceed to the next base. So I thought having this Mr. October, one of the greatest playoff performers of all time, getting run over by Speedy Gonzalez, a make-believe character, I found this to be quite silly.
Eric.
Yeah.
How was Reggie supposed to tag Speedy when Speedy is clearly throwing the ball to Reggie?
I know you're not up on the base of balls. I know you're not up on the base of balls, but how is he supposed to? The ball's in the air.
Well, he probably had it, and then he's so fast that he took the ball and then just took it and threw it over shoulder on the way to second.
We can only assume that, Eric. We don't know the situation that happened prior to the shot.
Speedy
That's like
Gonzalez-
you saying, that's like you going back and looking at one of your hockey cards, speaking of fictional characters. That's like you saying, hey, I can't believe you didn't score a goal. It's like, Eric, that's a shot from the pregame skate. There's no puck there. Like, what is he supposed to shoot? I'm just going to call this one hashtag ignorance, Brandon. Eric doesn't understand the rules of the sport,
I don't
and
understand.
he's putting unfair expectations on Mr. October.
Yeah, I just found this to be quite silly.
Indeed. So that's an option.
Andre, arriba.
This one is a Jack Morris card from 1982, Fleer. Now, I am following the spirit of the original silly card concept, but the reason I like this, and the reason I like the whole early Fleer, is that basically this is hashtag you had one job. Let me explain. This is a picture of Jack Morris. This is a picture of Jack Morris cropped to hell. It's supposed to be like an action shot, but you're cropped, like literally you're cutting off half his body. Like you don't have the lower half of his body. You don't have the one side of his body. Like this is your image you've chosen, and you've decided to put it this way on the card. And it's literally like, this is the guy who goes, look, I got to do one more before the shift's over. Go with it. Just crop it in. It's fine. Go ahead. Whatever.
Why is there a chain link fence? Like, I would say it was the batting practice netting, but it would be on the wrong side.
I would wager, Brandon, that this image was taken in spring training. The part that I would like to understand is why the picture of Jack Morris, like, why can't you just take a picture of his body throwing? Like, if you go for an action shot, just take an action shot. Or if you want to do a portrait, then just do a portrait, not whatever this is.
Is that a tree in the background?
Probably palm tree.
Yeah, like a very blurry one. Like right now, this is the focus is sort. And by the way, Jack Morris is not completely focused. Like he's semi-blurry himself, and then the background's even more blurry.
No,
So
not good.
The good old days.
yeah, this is a lack of commitment, is what this is, Brandon. You're like half action shot. Oh, but it's sort of a portrait. No, it's not. A portrait shot is one thing, an action shot is another thing. And whatever it is you didn't quite make it either way.
And am I wrong, or with his name, the R's have extra space in between them?
His shoulders are.
It does, but
flexed.
it's literally because the jersey is wrinkled in such a way.
His name is Morris.
We would know, Eric, if we panned back so we could see the rest of his body.
That's his name. Morris.
There's a lot of things, but Brandon, what I like about this is that conventionally there is nothing technically wrong with this card, but it's like we didn't even try. And this was, by the way, this wasn't Fleer's first re-release after the monopoly was broken. This was the second year, but in the second year, Brandon, we can't be bothered to try. Whatever, pick a picture. Who cares? Go for it. I just like it. Hashtag you had one job. Somebody got paid to be like, yeah, whatever, go with that picture. Good enough.
Did you ever think that maybe they are the ones who were the first to come up with rules such as "Thou shalt not effort"?
Oh, thou shalt not effort's timeless, Eric. It goes to the dawn of time.
Yeah.
From the time there was a single caveman who could have written down secrets that they had discovered to fire, but he goes, fuck it. And then somebody had to rediscover fire hundreds of years later because the first guy didn't write it down.
Right. Thou shalt not effort.
A proud tradition. So there will be a community post. You can select your favorite this week. You got a variety of options to select from. So, all right. So we got those notes. We got that on there. Let's see. Pickups wise. Let me see if there's anything on here that I want to touch on. Let me see. I'm just looking at my end. I didn't have anything pickups wise because right now it's going to be a little quiet for a little bit. I am going to touch on that in a little while as well. But for the moment, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Did either one of you guys have anything pickups wise you want to share?
I haven't had anything come in. So.
We had someone walk into the shop yesterday morning looking to sell some cards. They were all modern basketball and baseball and all that, and then all of a sudden out from underneath, surprisingly, was this brand new ingrained upper deck card. And the first thing I noticed was the Gretzky stick piece, which is clearly a 1980s era Titan hockey stick. And I immediately said, well, that's coming home with me. So not only that, you have, the Messier, which if you look really close, you can see a little bit of black paint from the outside of his stick. And then you also have Glenn Anderson. I think this is more of a cut, like inner cut kind of a thing by looking at it and feeling it. It's definitely not the outside of the stick. It's definitely been, sliced up and everything, and it's probably an inner piece. But the Messier and the Gretzky are both outside of the stick with paint. So, but that white and red Titan, I mean, that is just incredible. So, if it didn't have that on there, I probably wouldn't have bought it. If it was just if it looked like the Anderson piece, I would have went, yeah, that's nice. No, I'm good. But to have that iconic Titan on there, I couldn't pass it up, and it is number 2 out of 25. So I was very excited to pick that up yesterday.
Look at Eric being all about the modern.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm all about.
It's all he's about. The rest of it, just posing. But, so no official pickup, Brandon, not from the conventional sense, but I was able to procure something yesterday. And I talked about this before, and it's something that I wanted because I like what they did with it. And all I have to say is I'll show it here. Again, not a card in this case, but this item. The 99 jerseys were in stock at one of the Canadian sellers. Let me get this right here. The Maison Sport Canadien. Eric will appreciate.
I don't understand a word.
Blue, blue, blah, blah.
That
En
is some
français.
That is some blue, blue, blah, blah right there.
En français. But we are cultured people, Eric.
No,
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. So they had them in stock. So I was like, yes, Brandon, because I do appreciate the homage to the Stanley Cup era, and they modernized it a little bit with the new color scheme and everything. I like it. I'm a fan, so it's one of those things. I wanted to get those jerseys, and unfortunately, the first run through they sold out pretty quickly. I don't think they had a lot of stock initially, so it was good just to see that they finally had some in stock, and I was like, yes, here we go. So I'll have that one probably in the next little while here.
Oh, good for you. It's awesome.
Yes. So I'll be rocking that one a little bit this season. We'll see how things go. Speaking of, so now this is going to segue into the footballs. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. And then I will round it back into cards for a little bit as well. But let me start with the footballs. And the reason is, obviously, we had the end of the regular season. We're going to talk about the game that, Brandon kind of tuned off on because he needed to be up at the crack of why? Not even a specific time. It's the crack of why?
Yeah, I'm all about that.
Just saying, as a man who's been up those hours, Brandon, I'm up those hours when I'm up way too many hours. Otherwise, it's like this time does not exist. No. You tell me lies, but nonetheless.
I don't know. It actually felt good to get it early.
You did some nonsense.
Yes, indeed. So, as the kind of semi-neutral third party, obviously, I do have the connection to the darkness with the Packers. But outside of that, really, I didn't care who won necessarily. And I kind of tuned in late because I was doing some other stuff, but then I tuned in and all of a sudden it became a game in the fourth quarter. It got real interesting right there at the tail end. So if you like a wacky finish, we had it. So obviously I won't go into every blow by blow, but bottom line, teams went back and forth. Each team scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and it all happened in kind of rapid succession. Apparently defense became outlawed. It was like 1980s hockey. There is no defense.
There was no.
And we pulled the goalie, except the goalie never existed.
Yeah.
And by the way,
the goalie.
Yeah, well, they pulled every goalie. They pulled all goalies that weren't even involved in the game. And by the way, kind of a little side note that no one really paid attention to. Wayne Gretzky had 5 assists. He wasn't playing. It wasn't even the same sport, but he got 5 assists, like the 1980s. That's basically how those numbers arrived. But he got 5 assists during that. It was incredible.
You go screw.
Just saying. Anyway, so bottom line, if you're watching it from a viewership standpoint, it was so wacky. It was so crazy that it was kind of entertaining in kind of this is a ridiculous kind of way. Blown coverages, crazy plays, quick strikes back and forth. And then it concludes on what could have been the dagger, should have been, quote unquote, at least to get it to 3 points. And then the Steelers kicker misses the extra point, which apparently he doesn't really do. And then almost immediately, the return gets him almost to midfield for the Ravens. Lamar gets him in position. Great throw and great catch to get them into position A. And it looks like, boom, all right, you got by 44 yards is not a chip shot, but given where the NFL, a lot of 60-yard kicks have been made this season, so it's not like 44 yards is crazy. Exactly. But yeah, we were talking about before we hit record. So then the kick goes up, and it's wide right, but it's like wide right, like the string pulled it. Like Roger Dell was there with a hand fan, just pushing it, just like, but it just went, and it's like, all right then, there'll be none of that.
Yeah. So I said it before it even got to that point. I don't think either team deserved the playoffs, but one of them had to go. So it is what it is. But I think it would have been a big moment for Tyler Loop to hit that kick coming in to, Ravens rookie successor to Justin Tucker, who that was a gimme Tucker kick.
Oh yeah.
I think it would have been big for him. The part that's really crazy is he had not missed a field goal try within 50 yards all season. So his first miss inside of 50 for field goal terms. I think he had one or two missed extra points, but I'm going just strictly field goals. That was his first. So congratulations on your first miss. It came at the
It's a great
worst time. But, looking back to last season, we had Mark Andrews. Could have threw that pass to him 1,000 times, and he's making that catch every time, except the time he didn't. So it just seems to be the way things go. It actually told somebody, it reminded me to the season prior to the Ravens 2012 Super Bowl. And that one ended in a Lee Evans dropped pass. It was ruled dropped, and then a missed field goal. And, they could have made the Super Bowl then. Instead, they made it the next year. Well, we've had the dropped pass now, and now we have the missed kick to make the playoffs. So shit's got to be coming around soon. The way things are playing. But no, on a serious note, I watched the highlights of the fourth quarter, and how are these guys professionals? Like, a blown coverage once, all right, it happens, but it was like the entire last half of the quarter. There was no defensive secondary. Those guys were just running deep, and the ball was getting thrown. And there was, outside of the almost sack on Lamar, like, it looked like Rodgers had forever to throw the ball. Just, I don't know, weird ending. Season's over, so on to hockey, where the U.S. Olympic team decides they don't want the highest scoring U.S. player. So there's that. My sports week has been awesome.
Indeed. So just a couple of quick kind of notes here on this. I did have a couple jotted down. Like I said, if you get a chance and didn't see it for some bizarre reason, go watch that fourth quarter. It's weird. The whole thing is bizarre.
Watch the last 8 minutes. You'll
get an entire game's worth of what the hell is going on just there in that portion of it. And in that fourth quarter, Lamar had 171 yards, I think it was, and overall in the game, 3 touchdowns and a pick, which isn't too bad. But then Rodgers, the darkness, went 11 of 14 for 133 yards in the fourth quarter. The go-ahead touchdown was a 26-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Austin III with 55 seconds remaining. And then the end result was, and in that game, in the second half, he also had a 20-yard rush. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He of the ACL.
And the defense was on the bench. Like I said, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. I was sitting there like, Eric, we be not giving 20-yard rushes to old man Rodgers with the torn ACL.
I was as surprised as the rest of you.
So I was like, damn, all right then. So like I said, my point is wacky game. Like when I'm saying wacky, I'm reading this so that you understand the wackiness, so that I can really emphasize the wackiness. These are not. This isn't how you're going to draw. So I'm officially declaring this NFL season one of those like, yeah, this is fucked up beyond all recognition. I don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. Literally, it could be the meteorite in the Super Bowl. We don't know. That's in play. I'd at least consider a wager.
Take this game aside. Just look at the season in general. I mean, yeah, you have the Chiefs bowed out. They're not in it. But even go as far as, and we can say, oh, well, it was luck or whatever. But look at Washington. They were right there last year in the NFC Championship game. And I think I heard on the news today that Jaden Daniels only finished 4 games this season. He played in more than that, but he only finished 4 games. And they were terrible. The Commanders were terrible this year.
That's not a good
so it was just a weird season. You got the Bears playing good. You got Sam Darnold going to a whole nother team, taking them, I think Seattle got number 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm gonna show. So in a second, I'm gonna show the playoff bracket. You'll get a chance to see, and I'll kind of play into that. The Bears playing good though. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go like sort of ish. Depends on the game.
They made the playoffs. Didn't they win the division?
They did, but let's put it this way. So maybe my takeaway, Brandon, is that almost no one looked good doing this. So let me pull up brackets, because I think this will be illustrative, so we can visually see it here. This might be helpful. So let me show the brackets here. All right, so here is the playoff brackets, and I'm going to remove the header there just so we can properly see it all. So let me do this and here. All right, so we can see the entire thing. So here it is. Here's the playoff brackets with everything on it. So the 2 number 1 seeds are the Denver Broncos. Stop me if you got that, if you had that on your bingo card, but 14-3, that is indeed what happened. On the other side of the bracket, the 14-3 Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold, who has now gone 28-6 in consecutive seasons. And I defy you to tell me, Eric, who trusts Sam Darnold. And he's won 28 games in the last 2 years with 2 different franchises. That is the fact. Go ahead, Brad.
It's crazy.
Why in the hell is there an 8-9 team in the 4 spot on the NFC?
So, Brandon, I'm getting to this. Brandon, I am getting to this.
I knew
I am getting to this. Brandon, I'm getting to this. Hold on. Stay with me. So, Eric, that's why I wanted to do this segment. I figured we'd have some fun. Let me start on the left side. We'll get to the NFC. Hang on. Let's start on the AFC. Let's start on the left.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, we've got the Bo Nix led Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
We'll have the bye. But then we've got ourselves 3 games. And trust me, we will have plenty to say when we get to the NFC. I've got words. But let me start off on the left side here. We got them Buffalo Bills. They are if you can't fucking make the Super Bowl in this draw with the ridiculousness of this season, Eric, fold the franchise.
Yeah.
Fold the city.
Yeah.
Fold the continent. Just be done with it.
Yeah, this is the easiest path they've ever had, but we'll see what happens.
This is as good a shot as any for them. And what's funny is that technically Jacksonville has a better record, 13-4. So there you go. I bet you had that one on your bingo card. All right. So that we're gonna make picks in a minute, but I want to go over it for a second. It I really need to emphasize this. This year is bizarre. All right. Right underneath that, we got Eric's, claim. By the way, I'm still dubious on whether we should allow him to have it, but he's claiming the New England Patriots, even though he doesn't acknowledge any sport other than hockey. He thinks all sports are stupid other than hockey. So as far as I'm concerned, if he won't take the Red Sox, he shouldn't be allowed the Patriots, Brandon. I don't think he should be allowed to hitch his wagon like the bandwagoner he is to the New England Patriots.
Yeah. I've been a Patriots fan my whole life. I remember the Tommy Hotson and Hugh Millen era.
You remember that. You have the concussions.
I remember.
You can't remember last Thursday, but you remember this.
Dick McPherson as the head coach and us going 1-15, 2-3 years in a row. And it wasn't until Kraft bought the team, Bill Parcells was hired, and Drew Bledsoe was drafted that this team had any relevancy. So we made it to that Super Bowl in '85, and we had the worst loss at that time in Super Bowl history. The Bears absolutely destroyed us. So even by making it to the Super Bowl, we got embarrassed. So being a Patriots fan growing up was really tough. I didn't see a Patriots game for years because the games were blacked out because nobody would go to the stadium to see it. So I am all in on the Pats. We just had 2 back-to-back 4-win seasons. It's really been fun this year to see them turn it around. Yes, statistically, they had the easiest schedule in the league. That is what happens when you go back-to-back 4-win seasons. That's how the league works. So it's really good to see them, turn the franchise around and get back, in their winning ways. That's what's supposed to happen. But keep in mind, you just said, if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl.
I said if they don't make the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You should actually listen to what's being said.
I try not to listen to you, and vice versa. So it's only fair. Now, the Pats beat Buffalo this year. And in the second game, it was very, very competitive, and the Bills won. So the team that you think belongs in the Super Bowl, the Patriots beat. So I don't, even though they had the easiest schedule in the whole league, these are still professional football teams. And they won 14 games. And that is tied for the best record in the league. So I know all about the Patriots. F the Red Sox. And I got my Drake May rookie card ready to go.
I don't know, Brandon. It sounds to me like Eric, he of the concussions, decided to go to the Google machine. Because Eric, we can play this game. See, I remember the Patriots of the Tom Addisons, the Walter Beaches. Yes, the 1960 Boston Patriots. Because I can also go to the Google. It's not that hard. Brandon, name names. Hold on. I keep going. Hold on. I got more. Ron Burton. How about Richard Christie? Hold on. Jim Colclough. Yeah, Bobby Cross. Eric, you're talking about your peasant 80s Patriots. Who cares about that? How about Al Crow?
Steve Grover.
Poser.
John
Poser.
Hanna, the greatest Patriot of all time, John Hanna.
He's no Bob D. That's what I thought, Eric. Dom Dimitroff, Larry Garrison, Jerry Green, Tom Green, multiple Greens, with and without the E.
We like the Greens here.
Art Hauser, Harry Jacobs. See, I can go all day.
Yep.
And if I go to the 61 team, Brandon, that's all I'm saying. So we'll see. So anyway, regardless, this is their best opportunity. So Eric's pleas for adjacency notwithstanding, nonetheless, we'll find out. So you got the Chargers on taking on the Patriots there, and then you got the Darkness at 10-7. Let's go. Taking on Houston. Yes. What was funny is that like they're basically competing for which team is like, which one of these teams do we not believe in the next round? That's basically it's like if CJ Stroud is competent defensively, people look at it and go like, oh, the defense should be all right. But the defense has also not been as good since they were about a month ago. About a month ago, then we were looking at defense and go, oh yeah, well maybe not. But on the other hand, it's the Darkness. So
yeah, but that Texans defense is incredible, and he's
they were up until a month ago. That's the point I'm making. Yeah. They actually struggled a little bit down the stretch. They weren't quite as good as time went on.
They're going to blitz every single play and try to break that old man.
Depending on what Rodgers is doing, sometimes blitzing him actually plays into his hands. I know this from firsthand experience. Sometimes it doesn't work to blitz him because that's what he wants. And just to be clear, the Texans gave up 30 in their last game. So the defense is out. It's been okay. Look, they gave up 21 points to the Raiders on December 21st. Do you know the Raiders kind of suck, Eric?
Yeah, I know. They beat the Patriots though, like the first game of the season.
Yeah. What happens at the beginning of the season is not what happens at the end of the season. So that's one of those things. So we'll see. We'll get predictions here in a second. All right. So now, Brandon, we move on to the NFC because we must discuss this. So led by the Seattle Seahawks, led by Sam Darnold. Then we've got the matchup that Brandon was looking forward to, the one he's excited about, the one he wants to opine on. We got the LA Rams with maybe MVP, maybe not, Matthew Stafford, taking on the 8-9, your division-winning Carolina Panthers.
I just feel sorry that LA has to travel all the way across the country to play them.
That doesn't seem right. Why does
your division-winning LA Panthers, Brandon?
Well,
division-winning.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that you got to travel across the country to play a team that wasn't even 500 in the playoffs. That's just you got to question. They are gonna smoke Carolina so bad. It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be like the '85 Super Bowl.
Brandon, this is where I'm very tempted to pull the clip when Eric made a similar pronouncement about the Detroit Lions taking on the 49ers, and then the second half, and then we play clip. Boom, 49ers win. I'm looking forward to the 8-9 Carolina Panthers in the next round. That would be amazing. But wouldn't it be like the most perfect combination? What if Stafford wins the MVP? Okay, so he wins the MVP and he loses in the first round to the 8-9 Carolina Panthers. Let's go.
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah. That would be the most 25-26 NFL season thing to happen possible. I'm here for it.
And that's also going to be the gimme game for the betting, I bet.
That's the one, Brandon. This is why I'm like, let me make clear about this. I'm having a lot of fun with this, obviously, because it is ridiculous. The bracket I'm looking at is absurd. If at the beginning of the season you had told me this was the bracket, I had assumed you had gotten into Eric's third Guinness, because something has gone wrong. Something has happened. There's a malfunction at the junction. What is this? What am I looking at? But this is the bracket. And by the way, I pulled this straight from NFL.com. This is their bracket with dates, what network it's on, the whole 9 yards. And I'm just like, I do not understand what is happening right now.
Okay.
But here we are.
I want to ask one, and this is a serious question.
Go ahead.
So if this is the official bracket, why is the AFC set up to where the number 1 seed has to play the winner of the 6 and 3 seed matchup, but the NFC is set up to where the number 1 seed has to play the winner of the 5 and 4 seed matchup?
I don't think they actually put it in that order. I think they actually looked, if you look at it, so if you actually look at the bracket right now, pay attention to the left and pay attention to the right, they've got it in order of the schedule for the dates. The two January 1sts are at the top of the left. The January 12th is at the bottom. And the January 10th is on the right. And then the January 11th is at the bottom. I think they did it based on schedule. And then I think they reset next round. I think we'll still follow the normal seed, but I actually think they just put it in the order. They like if you look 5, 4, 7, 2, 6, 3. They didn't do it in the seeding order.
Set it as a bracket like that.
Well, send your objection to Roger Goodell. What do you want from me? The first, if you notice though, like the lines, like you see how like in the divisional and the conference championship and everything, they've got the lines there.
Yeah, they did it
in the
date wise in the order.
Yes,
but
if
this is how it plays out, somebody needs to be asking why this was set up this way, because the AFC, I mean, depended on the winner, obviously.
Well, and Brandon, I think that's the reason why though, because as soon as you have the games out, like for example, jokes aside, if in the NFC, if the Packers win, they're the last seed. They'd be playing Seattle.
So right,
but if the Bears win, they won't be playing Seattle. So you can't just put them in that spot. It won't be the winner going to Seattle. It depends on who wins.
That's why. Okay, so that I get it now, because that's why they don't have the number ones already over.
Yes,
in
that's
a
what
bracket. I mean. Okay, because they're all TBD.
Yeah,
all right.
The first round,
I was like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense, because I was looking at.
For the first round, it depends.
Plug in versus the winner of the all right.
Yeah, for the first round, it'll depend on who wins.
If I just the lower seed wins, that all of the second round were all TBD, and they would have had a number one.
And they actually have lines. If you pay attention, they actually have the lines. Yeah. Once we get to the next round after the wild card weekend, then then it'll just flow and it'll go straight line to the Super Bowl. So regardless, we've got the Packers and the Bears. I think this is only the third time they've actually played in the playoffs, which is kind of interesting historically, all things considered. And they got San Francisco taking on your defending champions in Philadelphia, who haven't exactly had a bit of a bumpy road to get back to the playoffs. It hasn't. So again, nobody's really looked good. Almost every one of these teams have some blemish or some question mark on their resume, whether it is schedule, whether it is who you played, whether it is random losses on your card or your dance card. All of them have a question or two or a bad loss on their record somewhere. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we'll see what happens. Who knows? So that's it. Let us all prepare ourselves. All right, everyone. America, Canada, rest of the world. It is time for the picks. So Eric, you get to go first. Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars. What say you?
I think Jacksonville. I'm going with Jacksonville. Buffalo just has not been playing right. They've been playing way too sloppy. They're relying too much for Allen to save the day, and I think Jacksonville's got more going on right now.
I see. The Superchargers versus your New England Patriots.
Oh, Pats, baby.
Now, are you taking into account Tom Brady running in and saying, no, look, Drake May is a draft dodger and a tax cheat, and he gets dragged away in handcuffs? And then Tom Brady flipping the middle finger to the screen going, fuck you, Eric, and fuck your friend's autographs. Have you taken that into account?
I have not taken that into account. No, I have not.
Do you feel that could alter the trajectory of the game?
If that happened, I think it would alter it quite greatly.
I'm just saying, he is part owner of the Raiders.
Yes,
so he may have some bitterness left in his heart, Brandon. Just saying. Beware the Raiders. All right. Last one on the AFC side, and then Brandon, I'll let you go. The Texans taking on the darkness.
I'm going with the Texans, and then we're going to finally, hopefully, never see the darkness ever again.
Ooh, the dream, shall we say. Are you jotting down your picks?
I am.
All right. So why don't you jot down all the picks, and then we'll review after the fact. All right. So Brandon, so start you off same place. The Bills taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is this the year? Do they make a run, or does the dream end?
No, the dream ends. I was actually hoping that Eric would take Buffalo and you would take Buffalo, because I wanted to be the outsider here. But I'm taking Jacksonville. Buffalo's record, it's not like it looks good, but if you really look at their games, they had too many close games. They should have lost week 1 to Baltimore. That was a stupid game. Jacksonville has looked good, and I think they've been in a better division. The Colts came out strong. You got Houston in the playoffs, so I'm taking Jacksonville.
All right. The Superchargers taking on.
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm taking the Chargers.
Well, you're wrong.
They're not. This isn't a solid pick, but I do think that the Patriots' ease of record plays into it a little bit. The Chargers, they've looked decent at times. They've looked crappy at times. But I'm going San Diego.
No,
Mhm.
silly. Go ahead.
Well, not
And
San Diego
then-
anymore. Now that the LA Chargers, San Diego went away.
Yes, that's
Oh
true.
yeah, my bad.
You don't even
I'm
know who you
going.
root for. Okay.
I'm going Houston.
Houston.
Simply, this is defense versus offense matchup. I think even if they've struggled recently, I think Houston's defense is more powerful than Pittsburgh's offense.
Mhm. All right, so I think I might have to go with chaos, Eric. I'm feeling some chaos.
Chaos.
This is given the way this year has gone, chaos feels like the right thing. It's kind of what the people need. So I'm going to go. So unlike you two, I'm not on Tony Khan's payroll. By the way, Tony Khan of the AEW also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. The family does. So unlike you two, who are on Tony Khan's payroll, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. They will survive at least a round. So I'm giving them one round. So we'll go there. And then what I think I'm going to do for the Chargers and Patriots, I think I'm going to join my good friend, being the longtime Patriot fan that I are, going back to the 1960 Boston Patriots.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I think I might make a little wager on the Patriots, Brandon, and see if the curse. Where's Tom Brady? Bring the papers, Tom. So I will join Eric in the New England.
Attaboy.
Again, go. So we'll do that, and then for the last one, Eric, I don't think the football gods are done. I believe in a thing called love. Bring the darkness one more time. And by the way, I want this to be I want this to be like 9-6. I want this to be the stupidest fucking game in history. Not even a touchdown. Nobody gets a touchdown, Brandon. No one. And everyone who watches it will regret ever doing so and want to watch it, their eyes with bleach. The darkness.
Well, if it's a kicker game, remember Houston's got a good kicker too.
Brandon, I also predict all the kickers get injured and Rodgers kicks his own field goals. And you know what? He makes them. So fuck y'all. The darkness, Eric. Darkness.
Wow.
Darkness descends. All right. Shifting over to the NFC. So here we are. The LA Rams taking on your division winning Carolina Panthers. Brandon, I'm going to start with you because I know you have a passion for this. The division winning Carolina Panthers. Say it with me.
This is the dumbest pick in the history. And if the Rams don't win, it could be the biggest upset in the history. But yeah, I'm going Rams.
Mm-hmm. All right. We got the Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears. What say you?
This should be a good matchup, but your team is banged up. So
I've noticed. I'm
gonna have to go Chicago on that one. And then I'm going to, yes, if you followed along the first round, I am picking 4 road teams, 4 higher seeds. I'm taking the 49ers to beat the Eagles because, I mean, A, the Eagles have struggled. B, this is a matchup that, if you actually look at it, the seed number should be irrelevant since, of course, the Niners have a better record. So I'm going San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 matchups there where the higher seed has the better record. And this is what we get.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. All right, Eric. Rams and your division winning Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just going to be ugly. Yeah, I'm going Rams.
Packers and the Bears.
Going the Bears. And
49ers, Eagles.
Going Eagles. And I am a 49ers fan. I've been a 49ers fan since I was a kid with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, Lonnie Watt, Lonnie.
Brandon, I thought he was a Patriots fan when he was a kid. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Because
Wait, you're way older than both of us. How were you
Jesus.
a kid
So, because
when
watch
Montana and Rice and all that? Because they were there when I was a kid.
because we couldn't watch Patriots games on TV. The only football you could watch was out of market games, and they always had the 49ers on because they were so good.
That
So
was
Eric,
when
how are
were
you
a
even
kid.
sure? How are you even sure the Patriots were playing in the 1980s then? If you didn't see them, how do you even know they were there?
Well, they were on the news. The highlights were on the news, and then they're in the newspaper.
Ah, the news. I see. Mm.
So I am going Eagles because I just haven't liked the way the 49ers have been looking. And No matter how bad
Wait.
the Eagles have been looking, man, Barkley could just all of a sudden just go on a tear.
Eric, are you being hypocritical right now?
Probably.
Every day of his life. Be more specific, sir.
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
What if your boy gets an opportunity to win this game for the
God.
49ers?
I would love to see Mac Jones come out and just rip.
I'm just saying. You just went completely against him.
I know. I know what I want. I want the 49ers to make it all the way to the Super Bowl and have the Pats 49ers go at it. All right. I would love that. I just think the Eagles are going to win.
I see.
He's going with the tush push.
He's going for it. I see. Well, to conclude, I may have mentioned this already, but I'm here for the chaos, Brandon. I'm here for the chaos. Your division winning Carolina Panthers. Let's go.
You're picking the Panthers, really?
Oh, Eric, this NFL season is so bizarre.
All right.
I want this. I want this for all our because I want to come back in a week and all of you go like, what the fuck? What? And it has to be the most bizarre way possible. That's the key. I'll go with the homer pick and go with the Packers. The last game came down to some stupid special team stuff. So we'll see. But to Brandon's point, I believe everyone, including the water boy on the Packers, is on the injury report. So the water boy, he should have been a lot more careful when he was carting the water because he's on the injury report too. So it's going to be a tough scene. So we'll see. And then to finish off with, I'll support the Purdy Party. Let's go. Purdy Party one more time.
I hope they win, but I don't think they're gonna.
So feel free in the comment section to make your picks. Now, I did want to veer this off briefly into the card category. Now, obviously, playoffs are playoffs, but I think there's always a situation where you've got different people that have something to gain in terms of potential value, because a lot of people will speculate, at least in short-term thing. So look at that bracket. So, Brandon, what I'm thinking about is there are certain players who either haven't proven anything or have an opportunity to prove something. I talked about it at the beginning. We barely touched on the number one seeds because obviously they're not going to be playing on the wild card weekend. But guys like a Bo Nix or even a Sam Darnold, if they come out in the next round, because the question is they're both unknown quantities. The reason I was talking about the Josh Allen thing, Josh Allen has an MVP. If you go back to the left side, actually, let me pull up the bracket one more time, because there's a specific point that I want to make, and I want to make sure that I show it when I'm showing it, is that if you go back to look at that bracket, just like we did a minute ago, we went matchup by matchup, but one thing that we didn't bother to do, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning, because this is kind of the way this game is played now. Okay. Even if I start off in the AFC here, Bo Nix, basically still early in his career. Josh Allen there has been an MVP. We can go all the quarterbacks. Drake May, maybe potentially. CJ Stroud was hot for a minute, but then he cooled off because he had a couple of kind of mess seasons. Again, a good playoff performance could certainly help that. It could give it a boost. But then we go into the darkness, kind of making his last ride potentially. But there's a couple of storylines in there, but most of these guys are still in the process of building their resumes. If I go in there and I look at the left side, the only people that have like MVPs and any bona fides is pretty much Josh Allen and the darkness. Everybody else technically doesn't have any, on the left side there, the only person who's actually won a Super Bowl is Rodgers. Nobody else has the experience of going multiple rounds. Whether they do or they don't, somebody from that side of the bracket is going to make it to the Super Bowl. But for the most part, outside of if we assume Rodgers is going to get bumped in the first round, let's say you're the Jacksonville homer pick goes, thank you, Tony Khan, send the check. But let's assume that happens. Well, then all the former MVPs are off the left side of the bracket. Again, Drake May could. He is going to be a finalist candidate there. But up until the moment he wins one, there's nobody there with MVPs and nobody there with Super Bowl experience, not a single one on the AFC side. But if somebody does make a run, that could be huge for them because it's going to be a first for most of the people on that side of the bracket. Did you get what I'm saying on that? And on the right side, it's kind of the same because if you look at it going, okay, Sam Darnold, what's he proven? Nothing. In terms of playoffs, nothing's happened yet. He's had 2 really good regular seasons, but a couple of shaky games in there as well. You go over to the Rams. Stafford's won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, and again, he could potentially, quote unquote, he's going to be right up there with MVP. It's probably him or Drake Mays to lose. So if he wins an MVP, he could add that to a Super Bowl. Well, there you go. Great. He's one of the few people. Your 8-9 division winning Carolina Panthers, there's no pedigree there. The Jordan Love technically hasn't done anything either. The Bears, nope. The Purdy Party, he's been to Super Bowl.
Yep.
But it didn't happen. And then we have to go to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the only other person with a Super Bowl ring on that side of the bracket. At least a couple of people have one, but he didn't necessarily light the world on fire either. So the guys that have it aren't the ones that are kind of firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs. So my question, so this is all to give background. Out of the people here, who has the most to gain from an impressive run? I don't just mean winning necessarily. Of course, winning's important, but I mean like putting up a couple performances. Who has the potential most to gain from showing out here in the playoffs?
Honestly, I think it's the New England Patriots. I think you have a young quarterback. You have a new coach for the team. They've turned the entire franchise around. And every single conversation that's been had, including tonight, but also on ESPN and all the other sports talk shows, is that they had the easiest record, to play against. So if they do well in the playoffs, you can't say that they were given the easiest road to get there. You can't say that, Drake Mays, is a flash in the pan, second year young player. You can't say, Vrabel got, lucky, and it's really this reason why the coaching was good. If they do well in the playoffs, they're the shining light in the AFC again. So I think they have the most to gain.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the play if they go in there and they absolutely crap the bed and they get crushed?
Then everything I just said is going to be used against them. Yeah, all right, but they only had that record because of the easy schedule. Drake May's not quite ready yet. Vrabel, still has a lot of work to do, and
Eric gave them the evil eye.
Eric jinxed them. The whole thing. Yeah, if they lose in the wild card, I think all the detractors, are going to say, "See, I told you so." So in a way, I think Buffalo has the most to lose, right? I think we all agree with that. From what this whole conversation started off with, but other than Buffalo, I think New England has the most to lose.
Well,
all right.
In terms of card prices,
yeah, we're talking about cards right now.
Was going.
Yeah, we're specifically talking about card prices here because all the legacy and all that questions, we can have that as a separate discussion later. But right now, I'm thinking specifically. Remember, so I'll give the
most
qualifier.
To lose is easy. That's the easy. The most to lose would be May and Knicks. They're the two youngest. Their prices are high. There's high expectations. They both have the top records outside of Seattle. So if
are they fully baked in though? So just ask a question. Are they fully baked? So one of the key critical components, and I'm good with your premise, but I just want to ask a question. One of the key pieces is about expectation versus performance. If great expectation is already baked in, then it hurts. So like Patrick Mahomes, when he's won a couple of his Super Bowls, his cards actually went down after winning. Because in reality, it's baked in. Like, see, the prices were already so high, there was a certain expectation. So even winning didn't satisfy it necessarily.
Well, that's why I pointed to those two as the most to lose. Sure. Because they're the two youngest, right? They're the two freshest quarterbacks in there. So if any of them have the chance to be the next Brady, because that's what everybody's going after. Who's the next Tom Brady, right? Same thing in basketball. Who's the next Jordan or whatever? They are the two freshest. So their prices are up. Modern stuff every year we see the products come out, players high prices. So if they come out and they don't perform, even if they do well but they don't succeed and make a Super Bowl, I still think they have the most to lose. Mm-hmm. You have Trevor Lawrence. He was in the COVID era, so his prices have they've been high and they've came down. He could he could gain if he could make a Super Bowl and win, obviously. CJ Stroud, he suffered a decline because he came out super hot, made the AFC, they made AFC Championship, I think. Kind of a Jaden Daniels situation, hot as hell, high prices, hasn't done much since. Allen, he's got the MVP, so his it's kind of even, I would say. Who else was it? Rodgers. Rodgers is Rodgers. I mean, where is he going?
Now, here's a question though. Let me. So we can go through the whole list, but just to ask. So you've got those ones, but even in a Rodgers situation, at this stage in his career, I don't think think about it. He was literally in a playing game. So with the Ravens, he could just as easily have lost and he'd be out of the playoffs entirely. He wouldn't have. And it's not like the Steelers were dominating. The Steelers were kind of they were kind of middling. They were literally on the verge of basically having a 500 season. So it's not like they were lighting the world on fire.
Anything like I don't see a surge though. I don't see a rise. What's his rookie? 05, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like you're talking 21 years ago, his prices are. I would put him almost in the same level as Stafford. You know, they've been around. Their prices are kind of sustained. I don't see this big surge because the expectation.
I'm not talking about a big surge, but just to be clear, but the reason I'm making this point,
But
Brandon,
you're saying the
is
most
there
again
it,
in sports cards.
yeah, but what I'm getting at is that he doesn't have expectation. The expectation, just to be clear, is that they get bounced. They actually were
Right. I
most
still
people were
don't see
looking
a
at them going
gain
like,
though. I don't see his prices gaining. I
well,
just don't.
so this is where I'm asking the question. The reason I'm bringing it up is there's a big difference between one Super Bowl and two Super Bowls. Because one Super Bowl, you did it, but you're also kind of a one-hit wonder because if you look at his playoff record historically, it's not amazing. But a Super Bowl run would actually bolster it and give you like an exclamation point on it and put you in a different category. He's also got 4 MVPs. So he's not on the same level as Stafford now because they both have a Super Bowl, but he's got 4 MVPs to Stafford's 0.
I don't. I just don't see Rodgers jumping at all. I don't see Stafford jumping at all. I think honestly, I could see Caleb Williams because he's also another young one. If he can make a run, because you got Chicago. When's the last time they've been Super Bowl relevant? The Super Bowl shuffle days. You know that could give them some hype, and he's young. Um,
You're saying the Super Bowl appearance with Rex Grossman didn't enthrall you?
ah, come on. Well, and then the Bears played. Was it Grossman when they played
I think it was. I think it was Indianapolis.
49ers? Was it or
No, I
the
think it was Indy.
Colts?
I think it was Indy. I think it was Indy.
Yeah, the Colts because Hester returned the kickoff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the
Um,
one. That was the Peyton Manning Super Bowl with Indy.
yeah. I really I don't know. I feel that Sam Darnold. I've talked about how he's now bounced from one team to the other, and there could be an argument made that he hasn't really been the factor, but he's taken two teams and turned them and done well. I mean, and done well with both teams. So I think Darnold, he's never had this massive price thing. Even in his rookie year, 2018, he wasn't. There was a lot of quarterbacks in that class, but he was never one that really stood out. He was on the Jets, so he had some popularity, but he sucked pretty much all the time. So if he could take the Seahawks, that would be interesting. I could see a little bit of bump there. Um,
I think though
but
it would depend on performance. I think with him
I
it would
would say
depend on
Trevor.
performance though. I
I
think it
think
would depend
Trevor
on performance
Lawrence.
I think it would depend on performance with Darnold though, because if the Seahawks go anywhere, but he's just a guy. If he's just sitting there throwing for like 200 yards and handing the ball off, Eric, I don't think he's going to do much for him. It becomes like a Jim McMahon situation. It's like, yeah, you're a Super Bowl. Again, hypothetically, they go all the way. He beat Jim McMahon, in Chicago lore, they love the guy. But was he ever a superstar? Not really.
No,
But he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It counts.
and he's never. I don't think he's ever had a Hall of Fame vote or anything.
Yeah.
not
Trent
like-
Dilfer is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It counts. But nobody
Yeah,
looks
but he had
nobody
to
looks
go this.
yeah, but what I'm getting, but what I'm but we're giving, I'm laying out the scenario, Brandon. Though, if he goes and they have a run, and he barely throws 200 yards for any of the games all the way through, it becomes almost like a Trent Dilfer situation where like the team is winning the game. It's not the quarterback winning it. That wouldn't do
Well,
much for him.
The other one, and I'm going to throw this out, CJ could rebound. I think he had that run. His prices got way high. They declined. If the Texans, and this would be a defense play, defense wins championships. If CJ could win a title, I think his prices could see a rebound. Not maybe to where they were, but I think that people would be back on a Stroud train. Plus, he doesn't have any licensed rookie autos yet, does he? Because Top still doesn't have the NFL license. So, that's another thing with some of these guys is looking at their rookie autographs and stuff and who has and who doesn't. That's an interesting thing as well. So, but yeah, I don't think most of them have anything to bump. Partly because of when they came out, but I think there's guys where if they were to do it and they're still young enough that they could get a little bit of hype.
Speaking of the young and all that, I'll tell you this: working in the shop, nobody comes in asking for the darkness. Okay, no one's saying, "Can I see your Aaron Rodgers pile? Do you have a box of Aaron Rodgers?" No one ever asks, and I think it's because a lot of these younger collectors, kids, young kids, middle school, high school, college age, 20 something, they don't remember him in Green Bay winning a Super Bowl. All they see is the last handful of years, this broken down old guy who's really weird. And they don't have the hobby respect for a Super Bowl champion and multiple league MVP. They don't ever. No, I don't have kids coming in and asking for them. I don't even have adults and veteran collectors coming in and asking for them. It's
I like that adults is in quotation marks.
well,
Are you saying alleged?
the 20 somethings are technically adults, but they're kids.
Brendan, what I'm envisioning right now is is on a video. I'm going to have to call Sports World. I just need to make sure Eric's in. Hey, can you pull up the Aaron Rodgers? Okay. And then I just play the $1 Million Man clip.
Yeah.
So
there, they asked for it.
So they
it's an interesting question, though.
That's why I'm asking.
Because I think there's another play here that could throw it all out of balance. Eric's mentioning the Rodgers thing. We have to remember Rodgers' rookie was back when Topps existed. And a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of the newer people weren't partaking in the hobby when Topps football existed. So some of them probably don't even know it's a thing. And we still don't have the licensed Topps football yet. So what does this do in reverse when Topps has the license? Do people forget the Panini era? That's something that, obviously it's going to take many years to see how that happens, but it's something that we have to look at because some of these key cogs right now, these young quarterbacks, their rookies are right there, parked in Panini, and we don't know what the future is going to look like on that. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me kind of throw a couple of numbers in just to throw it into the mix. By the way, comment section, I would love to hear if you have thoughts on this because I'd like to hear what, again, this is just speculation part. We're talking about cards here specifically because I think it's an interesting question to ask.
I messed up. I had the answer all along. The 8 and 9 Carolina Panthers. And we shall not ever forget. I have kept this card right here in arm's reach all seeing. I have not moved. We were given to this by the GOAT.
Get ready for Will Greer. It's Will Greer time.
It is freaking Will Greer time. Color match optic rated rookie. Look, it even matches the rated rookie logo. The Will Greer. If the Panthers can make the Super Bowl, Will Greer to the freaking moon. It's already in the card saver. It's ready to go. It's been sitting here just waiting for its moment.
So you're saying such is the power.
Eric proclaimed GOAT.
Yeah, Eric proclaimed.
So it's all about it.
So such is the power that he's able to do that from being on the Dallas Cowboys roster technically. So such is the power that even from a completely different unrelated roster.
But it's the uniform. The Jeff Wilson claim that Will Greer is an investment in the Panthers uniform.
Well, listen, Brandon. Currently, the rumor is that Kyler Murray may be looking for a team. So Will Greer technically is on a roster. So he might already be better than Kyler Murray simply by being on a roster if Kyler Murray can't find a landing spot.
I've had this damn card sitting here for many years.
So let me throw a couple of numbers in there just to kind of make it interesting. So obviously, whenever you're looking at this, you can take multiple angles on it. You can look at cards that trade all the time to try to do, the prisms. Like obviously Prism is a good example, either base or silver. Like that's one of the things that you can see a lot of movement on and kind of inquire. So let me kind of pose this question. So right now, let's use Eric's boy, from his team, Drake May. So he's the 2024 Prism class. So I'll use the PSA 10 base Prism. So right now, that one is last sold price about $272. Population just under 1,500, 272. So it still trades reasonably regularly. And right now, that card is up 400% in the last 3 months. That's prior to getting into the playoffs. So it's already up 400%.
I want to know how much this one's worth.
So that's one. I've also got the silver. Now the silver still has a population of 640. So that's still decent in terms of, it's tricky, Brandon, because I don't want to pick something that's too tough because then we don't get enough sales to see any kind of a trend. At the same time, I don't want to pick something that's too common, then it's not really necessarily going to move the needle. So the silver version is up in last, again, 3 months, 239%. It's already had quite the uptick. So does a run like, right now, the silver last sale was $1,641. The low price, by the way, in the last 3 months, the low price was under 500, and the high price has been 2,000 in the last 3 months. So
I don't know how to tell what the hell kind of card this is.
is
Look
it a
at
hockey
the
card? Because
card number, because Select has multiple tiers.
no, the one I was doing was Prism.
No,
so-
Eric has.
Oh, the card.
It says in small print, it says club level.
Yeah, it's just a base club level.
Yeah.
Select.
What the hell?
So does that change any thoughts there on that one? Because already Drake May's gone up quite a bit this season already.
I think if he won a Super Bowl, I think his shit would still explode, because you not only have the Brady connection there with the Patriots. To Eric's point, everybody's dogging them for having the easy record. They would make it through. Now, I'm not saying that these playoffs are a tough road, because let's be honest, these playoff teams are kind of laughable. But if he was to do it, people would look at it, okay, he's young, he's already got one, can he get 2, 3? That's the place that the hobby has gotten to with these speculations and everything. Can a player win multiples? Can they be the next GOAT, next Brady? And being as young as he is, you said there's only 1,500 base Prism. That's kind of surprising in itself. But you said only PSA 10, so maybe
Only
they
PSA
just
10s.
didn't grade well. Yeah, maybe they just didn't grade well. But that, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to double, but I think he would get a good bump, even amongst what he's already gotten.
Or Eric, or say it with me, 2021 Prism Silver PSA 10 Mac Jones.
I wanted to say earlier.
Silver Mac Jones, Brandon, population 559 in PSA 10, under 600.
So that's less than the
Drake May.
that's less than the Drake May.
Last sold, Brandon, $66. Let's go.
Hey, good speculation play. What if Purdy goes down, Mac comes in and takes the 49ers to the Super Bowl? That would be massive. And it's a low risk buy-in, just saying.
And just think of the speculation, the tabloids, everything that everybody would say, because it turns out that Brock Purdy was going to go out there, and all of a sudden somebody whacks him in the leg with a cane or with a stick, and all of a sudden it's a Tanya Harding situation before. It's a Tanya Harding situation before. All you see is Brock Purdy going, "Why?" while clutching his knee.
We seen
and then
Alex
somebody
Smith lose his starting job before,
Yep.
just because
And
he
then-
had a small injury. So
And then you see an assailant running away, and people can't quite catch up, figure it out. But all they can figure out is that falling out of his pocket is a chocolate stick, and as he's running away, a Patriots hat floats down to the floor, a red one.
Yeah, well, I can't run anymore because of my hip. All I can do is bike, so it isn't me if they're running.
it is
What
an
if they have-
interesting class here, though, because you do have a lot of young guys. Because I even
You do?
forgot, maybe because I don't think they are capable of winning the Super Bowl, but you have Herbert, you have Love, who is still young. If the Packers could somehow get healthy.
Well, look, that's what I'm saying here is, like, if you think about this, Bo Nix, like Sam Darnold, going through it, Sam Darnold is basically, with Josh Allen, the old men from that younger generation, because it skews quickly. So if I get past, like, Josh Allen is part of the 2018 rookie class, so is Sam Darnold. Those guys are both 2018 guys. But then if I keep going through it, Trevor Lawrence, sooner. We go through Stafford. Stafford is a previous era, but that same thing with the darkness. Like, that's a completely different era. These guys are, a full generation older than these other guys. So a lot of the other ones are going with young quarterbacks. Even Purdy, even Jalen Hurts. I don't remember what year he is, but he'd be in the younger class too.
He's 2021, I believe.
Yeah, I think most of these guys that I'm looking at here,
he's right there, 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, basically most of the guys I'm looking at here are late 2010s, early 2020s, most of them. Going through it, like, if we go team by team here, most of them are in that category. Again, the outliers being Rodgers and Stafford, basically. Those are the outliers. Almost everybody else is younger. So there's a lot of 2020s and 2020-ish there going. So it's like you're almost forced into the situation where no matter who you get on this list, it's going to tend to be probably a 20-something quarterback if one of the veterans doesn't end up there at the end. So it's kind of interesting. So that's why I say, like, it,
This proves that your chosen Rosen PC still has a shot.
It does.
listen, when they discover that you tried to fix it for Mac Jones, and they kick him out as part of the valid conspiracy, they will have to parachute in the chosen Rosen, who will then lead the San Francisco 49ers to glory.
Oh.
It all comes together.
Man, he still has a chance. Nobody thought Darnold would be where he's at. Same class, so.
Yeah.
But this is also why I don't really like the newer players, like the new football market and stuff, because the guys just change teams so often, or like the prices are crazy. It's more speculation than performance at this point for most of them.
This sounds like a roundabout way of you avoiding saying what I know secretly you want to say. You want to pitch another alternative option. The chosen Rosen is an alternative option, but I know you're thinking in your mind, is there some way I could get Jason Robertson under one of these rosters? If Team USA isn't going to take him, maybe Jason Robertson needs to win the Super Bowl.
And that'll show help.
And that'll show him.
Help.
That'll show him. Eric, the next phase of the pump is, you know what? He's going to be a two-sport athlete.
But I did go on record, and this was, several years ago when all the craze was going on, but I went on record even then, and I had the card, and I followed what I said. I had a Lamar prism, and the price is shot to all hell. And I said, there's no reason this card should be worth this much. And you can follow suit with newer guys. There's no reason those cards should be worth those prices. But I had a Prism Lamar that I was into for very, very, very little. And I did very well on it. I still have some Lamar stuff, but yeah, I buy Joe Flacco before I'm buying these guys right now. That's who should get the most jump. Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
That is an option.
That
and
is.
This segment is brought to you by nobody, because nobody else will co-sign on that segment. Despite that, Eric, thank you to AMG. The AMG podcast will be back this week.
They may have some Flaccos. Go buy.
They might have. You know what I do know for a fact they have, Brandon, though? Yarmer Yager. Because they're listing a bunch of Yarmer Yagers on the eBays. See, I know. Listen, I know nobody cares about the hockeys. I get it. I understand. But nonetheless, AMG has a bunch of the Yarmer Yagers on the eBays.
Wait. I can't say that. Hey, look, I got a Yarmer Yager.
Noise boys. That's right. So, Eric, I am going to list this. I will include it because it is one of the postings here on the Instagram page. 200 Yarmer Yager insert auctions, 1994 to 2009, single card, free combined shipping. We'll talk about them with the scalps collected the people. Back this week, back from Christmas break. So now that everybody will be back in, we'll have our regular episode. So thank you to AMG for supporting the podcast and the channel. I didn't want to make the party to the NFL thing, Eric, because it went all over the place. I would recommend taking none of our recommendations. But I did enjoy going through the list of names, Eric, and it's interesting. That reason why that specifically that I wanted to go through that exercise is I'm looking forward to. There are some people, Eric, that are unironically trying to figure this out right now, and they're trying to figure out the speculation play. And I got to tell you, I don't feel good about any of them. They would all I'd be sitting there, Brandon. None of them make me feel good. All of them come to But I will say this. So remember how I was giving you guys the last 3 months just for a bunch of the different ones, kind of to follow suit on that. I'll give you one more just to kind of close off this thought. A lot of the other folks have either kind of stayed stagnant or have not moved too much. That said, kind of to your point from earlier though, the 2005 Topps Aaron Rodgers has actually bumped up about 18% in the last 3 months. So it's one of those things. It's had at least a little. Now that's $189 because it's Topps paper. It's not. They do have a chrome. There is a chrome, and that one I think by comparison hasn't done too much. Let me just take a look real quick here. The base chrome for him has actually gone down 20%. So that's even prior to getting into the playoffs. But they don't have a lot of sales. So it's one of those things. It's only been 8 sales in the last 3 months. So the population on the Chrome is 283. So it's actually pretty low pop for the 10.
I'm telling you, nobody comes in and asks for him. Kids have no idea who he is, or they just think he's just some weird old guy.
Now, Eric, just let me know the next time you're in, and I'll be dialing away.
Yeah.
It's like, Phil, we've received 46 phone calls about Aaron Rodgers. And what do they end with? Laughter at the end?
Yeah.
But 46 phone calls in one day.
That's
In one day. And then next week you can report back about the flood of calls. Asking about the darkness. Asking if you believe in a thing called love. I'm just saying. Think about it. In other words, for this segment, don't take any of our advice. It's all trash. All trash. Absolute garbage. Garbage.
a lot of that.
Yep. On that bombshell. Last thing I'll mention real quick. Obviously, during the Christmas break, everybody does a little thing. We were talking about, obviously, Brandon was trying to figure out the binders, and I've offered the solution that all he has to do is completely rebuild his place and have it custom built with custom shelves, and that'll solve the problem. Even though it doesn't look like anything happened, over here on the side, I actually was redoing some of the stuff in the shelves there, trying to move some of the books out of the way, get rid of those, put some new ones in, and working on that. I also did completely assemble a entire shelving unit to put all the boxes there. While unfortunately, I don't have a tickle trunk that carries all my things.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so much more convenient if I could just put everything I own into one tickle trunk. That would be really nice. Unfortunately, I've got a bunch of those cardboard boxes and various varieties of them. So I was able to assemble that shelf. Now, the good news, Brandon, is that now all my shoe boxes and super shoe boxes and all that, they're nicely organized inside it. So now I can start going through the damn cards and get some of this shit organized and get some of it out of here. It's bad. It's bad, man. It's bad. But at least it's off the floor. So it's a step in the right direction. It's off the floor. We did it.
Yeah, my floor is covered, chairs covered, desk is covered. I gotta focus and get some stuff done in here. Plus, I need to dust because all the stuff is covered in dust. So it's not a good scene in here right now. I could write on these shelves up here.
The work of the hobby room is never done, Brandon. The work of the hobby room is never done. So yes. So let us know in the comment section if you have any thoughts on any of the upcoming predictions. By all means, feel free to leave some predictions. If you'd like to take a stab at who you think might benefit the most from a long playoff run, might be interesting to see if people have different ideas on who that might be. So remember what I said. The benefit we're talking about from a perspective of cards. If somebody, just to give the examples that we gave earlier, just to reiterate, I know we went in a lot of directions, so I want to quickly focus us back in. If somebody's cards have already gone up a lot and a lot of expectation is baked in, it might be harder for it to move up. They might succeed and still might not work. Again, I use the Patrick Mahomes example. He won a Super Bowl multiple times and the cards went down immediately after because the price had already been pushed up to a level where it already baked. It was assumed that they would compete or win. So even when they did, it didn't actually raise the price. It actually came down right after because, well, mission accomplished. And that's somebody who has 3 Super Bowls. So the question when we're looking at this is not just, preferably if you want something to move, it has to start from a lower place. If they're already on this upward trajectory, maybe they can keep it going. But the question mark is, again, using the Sam Darnold example, then it's not just winning. You have to be a driving force. Because if you're not a key reason why, you're just kind of there along for the ride, well, then you're not going to get as much credit. It's not going to bump you the same way it would bump somebody else. So with some of the examples given. But it is interesting because we do have a lot of 2010s and 2020s quarterbacks in that class. Now, one last thought, just a question. Is there anybody, do you think anybody outside of we always look at the quarterbacks because for football, that is traditionally the first place you're going to look. Is there anybody else that would benefit who's a non-quarterback? Would anybody get anything that you're looking at on one of the other players potentially, or is it just pretty much quarterback or bust?
I would look at McCaffrey. I would look at, I said his name, the running back from the Eagles.
Saquon.
Barkley.
Saquon.
Yeah. No, I would look at those 2 players.
Now, with those guys, we'd be playing under the assumption that maybe they have like almost a Terrell Davis type of playoff run.
Yeah,
because if you have like a crazy run, like you're basically the driving force and they're basically, handing you the ball and you're the one grabbing big yards and making big plays.
Yep.
That can be. Terrell Davis made the Hall of Fame based on his playoff performance because he was great in the regular season, but the playoffs is what got him into the Hall of Fame. So it'd have to be big performance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that if those guys really show off their skills, people are going to come in looking for their cards.
Yeah, it's an interesting possibility. That's what I say. It's unlikely, but I just threw it out there. It's just a question, just a thought, as a thought exercise. If there's anybody there that would be interesting for me, it's going to be interesting mostly from the outside. I kind of just get to watch it, and we're going to kind of see. But I'm rooting for the chaos, Eric. If my team can't win, I'm here for chaos. Let's do it.
You do
Brandon's
love the chaos and the Schadenfreude and all that stuff. So
I do. Listen, if we're gonna have a wacky NFL season, Eric, we gotta get some entertainment value out of this. It's no fun. It's like, oh, the top seeds all advance. It's all chalk. Oh, that's not exciting. That's not fun.
no,
We need some upsets. We need some train wrecks somewhere. We need something going off the rails completely. Looking
Yeah.
up something, Brandon?
the biggest.
I was trying to see how that Travis Etienne for the Jaguars, but I don't think he would. I don't think he would do anything.
He'd be more of an obscure name. I think you would, if you wanted to do that, the McCaffrey helps because he's had some good seasons that people have at least looked at. If you come out of completely left field, I think that'd be kind of tough. Saquon at least has a little bit of pedigree. And again, the Eagles did win the Super Bowl. But it would have to be kind of a monster performance. Again, you'd have to be basically Jalen Hurts is handing you the ball. And the reason you guys are scoring is because you're basically killing it and going to the end zone constantly. If you do that for enough rounds, then you're going to get that spotlight. You're going to get that shine.
the kid,
But it has to be something like that.
Puka. That Puka could end up being a huge.
Well, to that same point with Puka, because I was actually thinking this, but it would come hand in hand, I guess, with Darnold, that Jackson Smith guy. I mean, he's had one hell of a season, but if he had monstrous numbers to put his name out there to where he would overtake a quarterback, then obviously that ties him with Sam Darnold, because unless Darnold got replaced, but so that's, that would be an interesting one too, but.
I have to see. A couple of scenarios out there. So I think that's good.
Could be a Texas defender. Or maybe, what is their kicker name? Kayami Fairbairn or something? Maybe he wins it. Maybe the Bills kicker doesn't go wide right and Buffalo erupts.
I think the Bills kicker is going to have to do most of the scoring for this to work. I think it's like what happens. They won. It's like they won the Super Bowl. Amazing.
If Buffalo won on a field goal and it did not go wide right, Buffalo would praise that guy king. Literally, for as many times as they have suffered from that. Now Baltimore's taking the crown, but it could be possible.
Eric, to conclude the most chaotic NFL season in recent memory, for Brandon's scenario to play out, Bills kicker actually does kick it wide right, but a bird flies by and bumps it, and it actually gets knocked back on the trajectory, and then double doinks over the bar.
That'd be
Nothing
something.
but net.
Where's the Super Bowl at this year?
I don't care where it is, Brandon. We can get a bird in there somehow. Again, to be the wackiest NFL season of all time, that's what the people need. If we can get a bird in there, we can make this happen.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, Tom Brady is snickering on the side. It's like, I told you there'd be a
Santa
bird.
Clara. So yes, there could be birds.
Amazing.
They do.
Eric, so it is said, so it is done.
There you go.
Amazing. Sensational. On that bombshell. So this episode was a goofy mess. See what happens when Kenny doesn't light himself on fire, Eric?
Yeah,
I have to kill a lot of time.
Content gods were not good to us this week.
Yeah, it was a little rough. It was a little rough for us this week.
They're still on holiday vacation. They need to.
We didn't even talk about Stranger Things.
Never seen it.
I know it's a TV show. That's about all I got.
Oh wow!
I know Dustin collects cards for it. Ooh, I know that Netflix decided to leverage it to try to bolster WWE's flagging ratings. This Monday Night Raw episode that's going as we're recording right now is actually a Stranger Things themed, Eric.
Yep.
Even though Stranger Things already ended, technically, but they're still trying to milk the name to drag additional viewership. And they're like, so is any of the cast going to show up? Not that I'm aware of. So what is the Stranger Things thing? Well, we've got graphics. So what you're saying is you're literally trying to use this other property that's popular to try to boost this show that is struggling.
It sells, so it might.
That's not good.
That right now, that's what's happening. Netflix owns Stranger Things, so they're like, we're going to use this name. So hope you enjoyed the BIC podcast episode powered by Stranger Things. Then we can get on Netflix. We can get on Netflix.
Netflix. I like
Ooh.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, Brandon, listen, the precedent has been set. Netflix now apparently. I
They're
was
in the
listening
hobby.
to they are. Listen, I was actually listening to a podcast episode last night, and The Ringer. So at least Bill Simmons regularly, the video version of his podcast is actually going to Netflix.
Hmm.
Why Netflix has suddenly gotten in the podcast game? Well, apparently everybody's got it. Listen, it's Spotify for some and Netflix for others, and so Eric, we're this close to being Netflix adjacent.
If
Cool
Gio's on Netflix, I am Netflix adjacent.
Ooh, I don't think he's on Netflix yet, but I know at least the Bill Simmons podcast is going on to Netflix for the video version.
Well, if Gio gets on Netflix, I'm claiming Netflix adjacency.
It seems.
Well, they don't
only
have a
right.
Hall of Fame though, Eric.
No.
What is not preventing you from the other, Brandon? I think what's funny though is that apparently they're paying him for the video exclusive, unless you use Spotify, in which case you can see the video on Spotify. All they did was literally just take it off of YouTube and they're going to put it on Netflix, unless you're on Spotify, in which case you can see the video podcasts on Spotify, because Spotify does video podcasts. These podcasts are available on Spotify and they're video. You can listen to it, or you can have a video, whatever you prefer. You can see all of Eric's hand gestures, all his gang signs. There's a lot going on during the NFL thing. If you really pay attention, you'll see that Eric was signaling his homies. How do you think he's going to take care of and make sure that Mac Jones appears instead of the Purdy Party? Arrangements were being made.
I want
right.
Pro Bowler Mac Jones back on the field.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else we can add, or should we end this train wreck while it's already off the rails and currently flaming in a ball of fire?
Let's see how many we get wrong.
Ooh.
We'll talk.
Well,
about
I think
it next week.
since at least a few of us made a couple of different picks, somebody's technically going to get. Hey, Brandon, we have almost guaranteed that at least one of us will get at least one right.
Ooh.
We've guaranteed it.
That'd be
Take
Rolling the
that.
odds.
Yes, that's right.
that'd be
Looking
something.
forward to it. All right. So, Brandon, Bubbles, and ball cards. No associated 540 flips, unless he had him killed. Might have been more gang signs. We don't know. 540 flips hasn't been seen in a long time, Brandon. So how do we know he hasn't been killed?
I made an Instagram post on there.
Did you?
I did.
Was the Instagram post like, I am proving my sign of life. I am alive.
It was a very unexpected find of a very old jacket that I found that I shared.
Oh, yeah. You shared that in Discord, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yep.
I don't know. So
It was worthy of the gram.
the worthy of the gram. Ooh. Bobbles, ball cards, no associated 540 flips. Sanderson or YouTube famous person, but only in Canada. He has a sign. That time he didn't even need to go for the adjacency. He had the sign. Episode 161 in the books. Let us know if you disagree with our picks. Come up with other names. Come up with random names. That'd be fun.
Vote for Motorboat.
That's what Eric does when he watches Manual in Space. More on that on Friday. More videos coming up on the channel. Live streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The longest running episodic, whatever it is, we don't know. It continues forward. Eric has personally promised he is here and committed to 2,000 days in a row and beyond. Way beyond. 2,000 is like the first, it's like when he was riding his bike and he was going 50 miles. Well, 2,000 consecutive days, that's like mile 1. It's just a warm up to the warm up. He hasn't even started yet. He hasn't even taken off the jacket. That's how cool, that's how early in the ride it is yet. Amazing. All right. Thank you, MJ, for sporting. Catch you next one.